Good morning, all of you. This is Nageshwar Rao, Assistant Professor of Physics, Government Degree College, Chintalapudi. Today, we will discuss in this presentation what is coefficient of viscosity. How can we derive this by using the kinetic theory of gases? We know the kinetic theory of gases only applicable when the gas is in equilibrium. But in the actual practice, the gas may not be equilibrium in all times. Why it is? Because the velocity may be different at different parts of the gas. And the second one, the temperature may be different at different places of the gas. And molecular density is also different at different places of the gas. So then what happens? We know when the velocity components are not equal in all parts of the gas, the momentum is different. So the molecules will move from high momentum region into the low momentum region. So this causes the viscosity. If the temperature is not constant in all parts of the gas, we know the kinetic energy is depending on the temperature. So that the kinetic energy of the molecules are different at different parts of the gas. And hence the molecules will move from high temperature region into the low temperature region. This phenomena is called heat conduction. And third phenomena is when the molecular density is not equal, then what happens? We know if the molecular density is not equal, the molecular mass will move from high molecular density region into low molecular density region. So this phenomena is called diffusion. So these three properties, that is viscosity, conduction, and diffusion, are called transport phenomena. So today we will discuss one of the transport phenomena, that is viscosity of gases. So when the velocity of gas molecules may not be equal at all parts of the gas, and hence the molecules will move from high velocity region into the low velocity region, or high momentum layer into the low momentum layer. So this gives rise to the phenomena of viscosity. So to derive this viscosity by using kinetic theory of gases, the gases may be divided into different layers with different velocities. We know, for example, if a water is flowing in a canal, so we may place a lightweight coin or maybe grass in the top layer of the water. Initially, the velocity is very more towards the flow of the water. Thereafter, due to this gravitation, the light coin or maybe grass will move downwards, and when it reaches the bottom of the water layer, it stops. Thereafter, it does not move forward. Why it is? Because when the water layer touches the earth, the velocity is zero. When the top layer, the velocity is more. So because due to this velocity, there is some frictional force. There is some frictional force between different layers of this liquid or water, which opposes the motion of different layers. This opposition force or maybe transverse force is called viscosity. So as usual, here also in case of gases, we apply this theory. So let us assume this is along the x-axis, this is y-axis. If the gas is moving along the x-axis, there is AB is a layer having velocity v. AB is a layer having velocity v. And of course, CD is a layer that is also having velocity v minus lambda into dv by dy, where lambda is the mean free path, which is the distance between layer AB and CD. Lambda is the mean free path, which is the distance between layer AB and CD. And dv by dx is the rate of change of velocity per unit length. This is a dv by dy is the, we know dv is the change in velocity, that is the rate of change of velocity per unit length. This is called velocity gradient. If the velocity is increasing along the positive y-axis, it is nothing but upwards. The velocity of the layer CD is less than the velocity of layer AB, so that it is less, so it is minus. So the velocity of layer CD is V minus lambda into dV by dy. Similarly, one more layer is that is EF. It is towards the positive y-axis. So the velocity of the layer EF is more than the velocity of the layer AB. This is also at a distance of mean free path lambda. So its velocity is increasing towards the positive y-axis. So it may be written as V plus lambda into dV by dy. So these are the velocity components of these layers A, B, C, D, and E. So by using this, we can derive this relation. So you see there, let us assume that gas flows horizontal surface along the positive x-axis with a velocity v. Of course, this velocity of the gas layers is very, very less than the velocity of the molecules, where velocity of the molecules is due to the thermal agitation. So that velocity of this gas layer is less than the velocity of the molecule C. Of course, the velocity of the gas layer in contact with the surface is zero, because there is no momentum of particles of the gas, and gradually increasing as goes move along the y-axis. Of course, assume this velocity gradient is dv by dy, that is a change in velocity per unit length. Then, of course, I told you already, that is the assume that A, B, C, D, and E, F are three layers at a distance of main free path lambda. And EF layer exerts a tangential force on AB, and similarly there is a tangential force between CD layer and AB also. That is due to the viscosity. Of course, on another hand, AB layer exerts an equal force on the layer EF. In this way, there is a difference in velocities on two sides of the middle layer AB. Of course, this setup of tangential force between two adjacent layers, that tangential force is called viscosity. Of course, this tangential force always opposes the motion of the layers. So that is maybe frictional force, maybe like frictional force. There is some tangential force exerted between layers to oppose the motion of these molecules. So this tangential force is called viscosity. Of course, the velocity layer of the layer is AB is V. Then we know already told you that the velocity of the layer CD is V minus lambda into dV by dy, and velocity of the gas layer, that is EF, is equal to V plus lambda into dV by dy. Of course, the tangential force per unit area, per unit velocity gradient between the two fluid layers is called coefficient of viscosity. Why it is? Because the tangential force is depending on the area of the layer and also velocity gradient. So we may write that the tangential force, that is F, is proportional to area of the each layer and velocity gradient, that is dV by dy, because its velocity changes along the dy, so it is written as dV by dy. If the velocity changes is along the x-axis, then it may be written as dV by dx also. Of course, this is proportionality may be written by something is equal to some eta. That proportional constant eta is called coefficient of viscosity. So according to this, eta is equal to F by A into dV by dy. Of course, if A is the area of that layer, if it is taken as 1 unit, then eta is equal to F by dV by dy. So that is coefficient of viscosity came from the theory. So how can we define this? Do we know in the denominator always we have to take 1 unit. We know the area is taken as 1 unit, and if the velocity gradient is also, if it is 1 unit, then this tangential force that is equal to coefficient of viscosity. So from this, how can we define the tangential force per unit area per velocity gradient is equal to coefficient of viscosity. So that is the definition regarding the coefficient of viscosity. Of course, from this, F is equal to can be written as eta into dV by dy. That is the tangential force. That equation is taken as what? Of course, taken if n is the number of molecules per unit volume, that is also called molecular density. Am I right? Molecular density is nothing but number of molecules per unit volume. And C is the average velocity of the molecule due to this thermal agitation moving in all directions. We know these number of molecules per unit volume n will move in all directions. It is nothing but along the x-axis, along the y-axis, and along the z-axis. So in this n molecules, 1/3 of this n molecules will move along the x-axis, 1/3 of n molecules will move along the y-axis, and 1/3 of n molecules will move along the z-axis. So that the molecules move along the x-axis only can be written as n by 3. And also number of molecules will move along the y-axis is n by 3. And also n by 3 molecules will move along the z-axis only. So this can be written as, suppose that 1/3 of the molecules are moving in each of 3 directions parallel to 3 coordinate axes. 1/3 of molecules is nothing but n by 3. N by 3 molecules are moved, which is going along the positive x-axis. Along the x-axis. Of course, we know these n by 3 molecules will move along the x-axis, and n by 3 molecules will move along the y-axis, and n by 3 molecules will move along the z-axis. But we know along the x-axis is nothing but it may be positive x-axis, maybe negative x-axis. So in this n by 3 molecules, half of that molecules, that is half of the n by 3 is nothing but n by 6. N by 6 molecules will move along the positive x-axis, and n by 6 molecules will move along the negative x-axis. Similarly, n by 6 molecules will move along the positive y-axis, and n by 6 molecules will move along the negative y-axis. So in this way, there will be equal number of molecules traveling in the upward and downward directions, and hence the number of molecules traveling along only one direction is n by 6. So that is that kind of molecule, that is n by 6 molecules will move only one along direction, that is maybe plus x-axis or maybe minus x-axis, etc. Of course, we know c is the velocity of the each molecule. Then a number of molecules will move or transfer per unit area per second is n by 6 into c. Because we know c is the velocity, that is nothing but a distance traveled per 1 second. So that is, we know per unit area, this is n by 6. So that n by 6 into c, that is nc by 6. So n by 6 is the nc by 6 is the number of molecules which move per unit area per second. If m is the small m is the mass of the each particle or maybe each of the each molecule, then the mass crossing per unit area per second is mass into number of molecules, that is m into nc by 6. So this is the mass of the molecules, total molecules which is crossing per unit area per second. We know how much momentum will transfer from layer EF to AB. We know the momentum P is equal to mv. So where m is equal to mn into c by 6, and v is the velocity is v plus lambda into dv by dy. From these two equations, we may write that the momentum change, it is nothing but from layer EF to AB, can be written as P1 is equal to 16 mnc into v plus lambda into dv by dy, where you know 16 mnc is mass, v plus lambda into dv by dy is velocity. So mass into velocity, that is momentum. So this momentum is carried downward from layer EF to AB. Of course, in the similarly, the momentum carried upwards from layer CD to AB is, that may be written as P2 is equal to 1/6 MNC into the velocity of the lower layer is V plus lambda into dV by dy. So that how can we write? That is P2 is equal to mass 1/6 MNC into velocity is V minus lambda into dV by dy. So what is the net change in velocity, momentum? What is the net change in momentum per unit area per second of layer AB is? What is the momentum transfer per unit area per second is? That is of course P1 minus P2. That is 1/6 MNC V plus lambda into dV by dy minus. This is 1/6 MNC into V minus lambda into dV by dy. Of course, here 1/6 MNC and 1/6 MNC may be taken as common. So this is plus V and this is minus V may be cancelled each other. So that is P1 minus P2 is equal to 1/3 MNC into d lambda dV by dy. Because we know this is lambda into dV by dy. This is minus into minus plus lambda into dV by dy. So lambda into dV by dy plus lambda into dV by dy, that is 2 lambda into dV by dy. There are 2 which will 3 6 cancelled 3 times. So that P1 minus P2 is equal to 1/3 MNC into lambda into dV by dy. So what is this? This is a change in momentum per unit area per second. We know change in momentum per second is called rate of change in momentum. That is equal to tangential force. According to the Newton's second law of motion, that is F is equal to dP by dt. We know this is dP, P1 minus P2 is equal to dP. Of course, this is already we have taken per second. That is nothing but dP by dt is equal to this one. We know dP by dt is equal to tangential force. So that how can we may write that is the tangential force F is equal to 1/3 MNC lambda dV by dV. Of course, this may be taken as equation 2. We know from the definition of this tangential force, that is maybe coefficient of viscosity, F is equal to, that is eta into dV by dy. This is F is equal to 1/3 MNC lambda dV by dy. So those equations 2 are tangential force, B is equal. So that eta into dV by dy is equal to 1/3 MNC lambda dV by dy. Of course, this dV by dy, this dV by dy are cancelled each other. So that the coefficient of viscosity eta is equal to 1/3 MNC lambda. Actually, this is the coefficient of viscosity of the gas layers using kinetic theory of gases. But we know m into n. M is the mass of the each molecule. N is the number of molecules per unit volume. So that the m into n gives the density of the gas. So that in this case, we may write that efficiency, that is coefficient of viscosity, eta is equal to 1/3. This is rho c lambda. But we know by using this Maxwell's distribution of molecular velocities, the mean free path lambda is equal to 1 by root 2 pi sigma square n. When this value is substituted in this above equation, that is coefficient of viscosity, eta is equal to, that is 1/3 rho c by root 2 pi sigma square n. That actually there is no lambda because it is submitted in place of this lambda. So that is 1/3 rho c by root 2 pi sigma square n. Of course, this is the coefficient of viscosity. So that coefficient of viscosity is depending on, one is rho, that is the density actually, but is actually that is rho is equal to m into n. So n cancels, so rho is not there actually. Only mass of the particle is there. C is the velocity of the molecule, and 3 on constant, root 2 is constant, pi is constant, sigma is the diameter of the molecule, and n is the molecular density. So the coefficient of viscosity is depending on, these are the conclusion we may write. The coefficient of viscosity is independent of the pressure because there is no pressure in this equation. And of course, independent of density also, because this is not actually, this is rho may be written as m into n. So nn cancel, there is only mass, not in density. So that it is independent of density also. Now, of course, the coefficient of viscosity is directly proportional to its molecular velocity c. So as the molecular velocity increases, the coefficient of viscosity is also increases in gases. The coefficient of viscosity is directly proportional to square root of the absolute temperature of gas. Of course, there is no temperature term in this equation, but the velocity of these molecules is directly proportional to root T. So that this velocity is directly proportional to eta, and hence coefficient of viscosity is proportional to root T. And of course, the coefficient of viscosity of the gas is inversely proportional to square of the diameter of the molecules, that is sigma square. So if the diameter of the molecule increases, the coefficient of viscosity decreases. Of course, the coefficient of viscosity of gas is directly proportional to a mass of the molecules of the gas, because we know that is rho is equal to m into n, where m is there. So that is when the mass of the molecule increases, the coefficient of viscosity also increases. It is nothing but in case of higher, that is higher order molecules, gas molecules, in such cases, the coefficient of viscosity is also increases. This is about the coefficient of viscosity. Thank you.